Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon if you're joining us from mainland China today. Thank you so much for joining this session, which is part of our Asia Careers Insight series. I'm very pleased to have here with me today PageGroup to give you a presentation about their organization and how to become a successful recruiter. So without any further delay, I'll hand over to my colleagues at PageGroup for their presentation. We'll be taking questions at the end, but please do set them in throughout the session, and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne. Okay, then so I will start our presentation now. And thanks, Carrie, for providing us this opportunity to share with you guys about PageGroup and to share with you guys about PageGroup and all the things about recruitment industry. So yeah. Okay. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe there's
Please bear with us a second. Yeah, we need to revise the PPT a bit.
That's completely fine. Just apologize to the students. We had some slight tech issues this morning trying to get our microphones and audio to work, but we got there in the end. So just give us a really quick minute while we revise the presentation. I hope you're all looking forward to the session today. PageGroup is offers fantastic careers opportunities, that they're going to talk to you a little bit more throughout the session, but also as recruiters themselves, they do have fantastic insights into the labor market and the recruitment market in mainland China and beyond, because they have a presence throughout the world. So it would be a fantastic opportunity for you to ask questions both about their organization, but also in general about what their insights are into the current recruitment market, how the pandemic has perhaps affected that, and what you can do as returning overseas students to find those roles to make sure you're at the very best chances of being appointed, what skills you need to be developing right now, what skills they find as overseas students perhaps lacking and need to work on a little bit more, ask them about their ideas about what sort of work experience they can build on, and so on.
Yeah, thanks, Corinne. Since we're waiting for my colleague Rita to upload the presentation, Corinne, I believe you have some videos of PageGroup. Is that possible to play these videos from your end?
Yeah, just give me a quick minute and then I'll play them for you. I just need to get back presenter access.
Thank you.
No problem. And then let's just see the video in the meantime. There we go. Do we have some videos? Sorry, I don't think we've received them, or I don't think we've uploaded them. I was wondering if, because we've had the students submit questions to us in advance.
Yeah, because I see there are still there are already 46 students online, so I may just kick it off from my end. Yes. And then in the end, when Rita gets the PPT ready, we can just go back to the PPT. Would you be able to play the video by end of the PPT as well? Or
if you can send it to me, because I don't know if we've received that. Go through my email to check if we've received it. But if not, it will be useful if you can just send it to me again so I can upload it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll do it in the meantime, because I don't want the students to wait for too long. Okay. So with no further wait, let me just introduce myself. My name is Weiwei Xu. So I am the head of talent acquisition for PageGroup in China. Some of you may find a little bit more familiar to a brand called Michael Page. So our company is a British company. We are listed in the London Stock Exchange. So the reason why I highlighted PageGroup is we're also going through this journey of focus on the branding of the group instead of just Michael Page, because Michael Page is a well-known brand in the recruitment industry globally. So besides Michael Page, obviously it is our biggest brand in terms of team size, headcount, and global revenue. We also have another 3 brands within the group. One of the brands on the top is called Page Executive. So Michael Page is predominantly focused on middle to senior and professionals recruitment, while as Page Executive focus on the C-level. So CEOs, CFOs, CTOs will be dealt by this team. And then the other 2 brands we want to be really paying attention and then focus on today, because these brands are more relevant to the students out there today. So these 2 brands, one of them is called Page Personnel. So by the meaning of Page Personnel, obviously this brand focus on more entry level professionals recruitment. So we provide this service to our clients, helping our clients to targeting entry level professionals, i.e. somebody with between 2 years to 5 years working experience, either as an individual contributor or as a junior manager. And then the other brand that I want to particularly introduce to yourself is called Page Contracting. It's a very unique brand because this is not launched globally, but it is launched in China. And this brand is purely focused on contractors or interim management professionals. So typical roles of this team focus on is 6 months appointments, or 3 months appointments, or up to 12 months appointments. So the reason why I bring you guys attention to this brand is because when we hire candidates like yourself, fresh graduates, or even though maybe some of the participants today is probably not going to graduate today this year, but maybe next year or next 2 years, you're looking into setting your foot down in your first career step. Then these 2 brands are where you can land your foot down, because we have either 180-degree resources, meaning that somebody will purely focus on delivery of a case. And to put it in a simple way is your colleague pick up this job, and then they will brief you on clients' requirements, and then you will use all the necessary resources to generate candidates for this job. Or if you're confident enough, and after our assessment, we also agree that you will start to work on a 360-degree full-cycle recruitment roles right away. So this is your entry point. And then the roles definition is associate consultant for 360 degrees or 180 degrees for a researcher. So now I can see that we get the right PPT back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I believe you guys can see our screen now. So
Yes.
we have already just a lot of the information about PageGroup, and today it will be hosted by us. So a little bit of introduction about myself. I'm Greta, and I joined Page 3 years ago, just past my 3 years anniversary here.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, and always in charge of our internal recruitment for our 6th office in China. So for now, today we will share more about our PageGroup and recruitment industry, and more about headhunting. So let's start it. So yeah, today's agenda, we will be divided into parts. And firstly, we will share more about our history, visions, values, culture. So you guys can see on the right side, we have 5 slogans for our internally culture, like we make a difference, we make passionate, we encourage determination, and we work as a team. Also, we enjoy what we do. And then move to the second part, we will know how to become a successful recruiter. Yeah. Okay. So for you guys maybe know Michael Page very well, but as a group we named as the PageGroup, and besides Michael Page, we also have different sub brands like Page Executive, Page Personnel, Page Outsourcing, and we have over 142 offices in 36 countries with more than 7,000 staff. And then we will give a little bit more information about our different brands.
Okay, so this is really what I was just talking about while we're waiting for the presentation, and then putting a little bit in context. So if you can see the pyramids in the middle, this really demonstrates the focus of the different focus of our different brands. Michael Page sits in the middle, focused on qualified professional. Page Executive sit on the top, focus purely on executive level searches, well as Page Personnel as well as Page Contracting are the 2 brands that I mentioned to you guys, that these would be the entry brands for you guys if you are really interested into recruitment industry.
Okay, so move to our focus with our Greater China business. We have already had within the Greater China business over 25 years, and we have 9 offices with over 500 staff within our mainland China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. And you guys can see for our mainland China office, we already have office in Beijing, Chengdu, Suzhou, Shenzhen, Guangzhou. Yeah. So, and also Shanghai, obviously Shanghai. So, if you guys want to join us with different locations, there are a couple choice for you guys.
Okay, I will explain a little bit more on this one, because this slide is pretty important to the students today. This demonstrates the career progression that you can achieve if you join PageGroup. So this all these levels of promotions is valid for every single brand. So typically you will start as just like what I mentioned before, as an associate consultant, and then your role is independently conduct recruitment process from end to end, so from client side to candidate side. And then from associate consultant to consultant and senior consultant, the difference in terms of your daily jobs, I wouldn't say there will be much difference, because these 2-3 roles are typical individual contributor roles. But again, based on your experience and based on your track record, based on the effort that you have spent, you will be slightly working on a little bit senior roles, and then you will also hitting on bigger targets and bigger KPIs. The duration of typical promotion from AC to C, I would say, is around 6 months to 9 months. And then from consultant to SC, senior consultant, would be around another 9 months to 12 months. And then after senior consultant, right until managing directors, these are all leadership roles. But of course, when you're a senior consultant, you started from hiring from one person, reporting into yourself, and then you yourself will be in charge of, developing this person, and then help to grow this person as well. So the difference between each level is really like, when you're a senior consultant, you're running one branch or one company, and then when you're a manager, you're probably running 2 or 3 different branches or businesses. well as when you're managing director, you are running typical business of 200 plus people. Yeah, so let's move on to the next slide.
All right.
Okay, so this one we want to focus a little bit on as well, because this really shows that as a Chinese national, what is my future to join a company like PageGroup? Because there are some recognitions about PageGroup being a MNC, a UK listed company, and then we've heard that all their top leaders are all from the UK. Are they still correct nowadays? They were correct a long time ago. So if you see this chart from the bottom, from 2009 when we entered the China market, up until actually 2016, we have 0%. So nobody at the senior management level are Chinese nationals. They are all British or Australians, because our APAC headquarters is in Australia. And then 2019, I joined in 2018, so I have witnessed this, the change of the leadership from 2018 and onwards. And then from 2019, we have a new MD join the business, and then this guy is very strategic, and he believes in the future growth of the Chinese business will not purely rely on Brits. This needs to be relying on more Chinese nationals. So we introduced a more healthy career progression programs for Chinese nationals. So in 2019, we had already about 20% of the managing directors are Chinese, 50% of the regional directors are Chinese. And in 2022, which is next year, we will have over 90% of the regional directors are Chinese in our China business, and over 50% of the managing directors are Chinese in China. And we also will keep this vision for our future business. So our 2025 vision is keep growing the proportion of the Chinese leadership within our China business, and keep the same proportion for the regional directors, but really to grow more managing directors.
Yes, thanks, Wei, for sharing a lot of our leadership team, and you guys also can see on this slide we listed some our great leaders in our mainland China business. You also can see the background of them, or like you guys from overseas universities. They have already been with us more than a couple years, I think, and very fast growth within our business. So yeah, let's if you are interested, so you guys maybe one of them you will be in the future. So besides the work, we have already talked about a lot, and we also know how to have fun in Page. You guys can see on the slide, we celebrate our like last year we have this Pride Run activity around our 6 offices in China: Beijing, Chengdu, Guangzhou, also Hong Kong, like Shanghai, Shenzhen, Suzhou, and Taiwan. And we have this activity to celebrate our diversity. And also for Halloween festival, we also have this costume activity. So yeah, pass to the Q&A session. I believe you guys have a lot of after our introduction, you guys have a lot of questions here. So we listed some common question here. So
but if you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat box, and then we will answer them immediately. But while we're trying to warm up a little bit, because we've done a lot of webinars, similar webinars in the past, so we've collected some common questions here. So we can, because I have been working on the business front for a long time, So Rita, my colleague, will interview me, and I will share, my insights on these questions.
Yeah.
But again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We're happy to answer.
Yes.
I've just said we've already had. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we've already had a few questions come in. It's just you won't be able to see them because I haven't given you all the full functionality. But I can go through them, or you can start by yes. And just to say to the students, feel free to send more questions through as well. And we'll be very happy to answer them now or later in the presentation. Shall I make a start with the ones that we've received so far?
Actually, let's just go through the common questions first, quickly, and then just leave the students' session at the middle, at the end, if it's okay with you.
Definitely.
Is that
okay?
Okay, cool. So first, a lot of students ask before, what do you think about the meaning of being a recruiter, Wei Wei?
It's a really good question because we do have a slogan in PageGroup called "Changing People's Life." This could sound really, really big, but I want to give you a live example that one of our regional directors in China, her name is called Yuki. She's possibly going to be our first Chinese MD in China business that shared with me in the past that really proves on this point. So she joined as a fresh grad. So she studied in the University of Edinburgh, right, in Scotland. And then Yuki attended our assessment center back in the days in London, and then was offered the job as an associate consultant to join our finance team. So she came back after studies, and then she started in our old office around 11 years ago, because she just had her 11 years anniversary yesterday. And then she said that one of her first assignments was to work for Alibaba. So Alibaba may be really, really famous right now, but 11 years ago, it was not that famous. And then she was working on a finance manager for one of their plan to a new launch division. And then the client clearly briefed her that they want to hire somebody from an MNC background. So she came back and then she did the database search. She briefed the candidate she has met. And then one of the candidates ticked all the boxes, but this candidate has huge concerns about moving from MNC to a domestic client. And then also another big question is moving from Shanghai to Hangzhou, because Alibaba's headquarters is in Hangzhou. Yeah. And then Yuki obviously played, all her strengths, and then told this particular candidate, the reason why he needs to push himself out of his comfort zone, and then take this as a challenge, and then take up this role. And then this candidate finally, listened to the recruiter Yuki, and then joined Alibaba 11 years ago. And then she said, before this candidate turned 35, he was successful, and then he realized his dream of being financially independent before he was 35 years old. So he came back and then really appreciated Yuki's guidance and then suggestions at that particular point. And then he said, without you, I would never come across thinking about, I could work for a domestic company. And then I was still, it was a daunting decision for me to move from Shanghai to Hangzhou back then, but it was all worth it. And then now I can do whatever I want. I'm not even 35 yet, right? So again, this is an extreme example that how you can change a particular person's life by help them finding the right job. But this is happening every day as a recruiter, happening to us, to me in the past, to all my colleagues here, because when you handle a candidate, when you join as a fresh graduate, right, you may encounter the candidate, and then these candidates' typical background is relatively junior. 1 to 2 years experiences. So they may starting point is thinking, I've done a job, but maybe this job is not very suitable for you. What should I do next? Or they say, I've got some experience now and I like what I do now, but there are some restrictions for me to achieve my middle-term career progression in the current company. So where should I look to fulfill my middle-term and long-term career plan? Or somebody could be like, my girlfriend is in Guangzhou, right? I'm in Shanghai, but I really want to be together because I can see, I can build a family with this girl. So if I move to Guangzhou, I don't know anything about Guangzhou. What should I do? So all these typical questions or typical candidates you will deal with, you are the ones helping them to find their, one of their first jobs, to set their foot down in their earlier careers, and this may impact for years and years afterwards. So it is a very, very meaningful job as a recruiter.
Yes. So back to 10 years ago, Wei, why do you choose to be a recruiter?
My background could be a little bit different to the students out there today because before I joined PageGroup, I did have over 7 to 8 years experiences in other industry, but mainly doing sales-focused jobs. But I think because I want to relay, my answers more to the audience today, for the fresh graduates when they choose to be a recruiter, it is a very fulfilling job. Just like what I mentioned before, you're changing people's lives every day. But again, it's a very challenging job as well, because if any of you do slight research on recruitment industry, often you will see high KPI targets. You need to good at dealing with pressures, right? And then it's very you need to work really hard, fast paced. You need to be like really commercial driven. All these are absolutely correct. But you don't have to be worried because throughout the whole journey, we will help you. Your more experienced colleague will help you. Our internal talent development team, the training teams will help you. But please take this opportunity as a challenge to yourself, because if you become a recruiter, this job can help you to become a very, very competitive in the market in a very short time, because you're dealing with candidate side, client side, you're talking to the client straight away, you're trying to negotiate with the candidate on the offers. So the actual skills hidden behind is, the negotiation skills, the compelling skills, the influencing powers. This will beneficial to you personally forever.
Yeah. Okay. So, Wei, after 10 years plus being a recruiter, do you have any suggestion, or do you think what kind of future career path as a recruiter for our students today?
Recruitment can be a lifelong job. Don't get me wrong, because I've obviously seen a lot of colleagues. They've chosen a different career path after being a recruiter because sometimes because the family situations. But recruitment is a lifelong job because in recruitment industry, in PageGroup, we can offer you a lifelong career progression. Just like what we're trying to say in the PPT before, that you started as an individual contributor, right, and then you later grow into a small leader, big leader, and then a leader of a business of 200 plus people. It sounds really short, but there's a lot of efforts and a lot of skills that you will learn throughout the whole process. Yeah.
Yes. And Wei, do you have any more information about the Page culture and team?
Our team, our culture, I would say, is very diversified. We embrace different ethnic backgrounds. We embrace different genders. Right? We have actually we do embrace different genders, but we prefer more males in our China business.
Yeah.
Somehow our China business is very female dominated. Yeah, but we have a lot of we have a lot of single people working here, but we also have a lot of working mothers and working dads. Me myself is a working mother, and you yourself is a single person. Yeah, and then we have different nationalities working in our China business. I would say we had more nationalities before, but because of COVID, a lot of people cannot come back. So, but we have Chinese, we have Russian, we have British. We have Singaporean, we have Hong Kong, we have Malaysian, right? So there are a lot of different nationalities. We're not biased or on any gender preference or sexual preference, so we're very diversified. And then we are big believer of diversification and inclusion, right? So one of the events that Rita mentioned before, the Pride Run, happened last year, is an event that we held as a business as a whole to support the LGBT group. So again, that's a big belief that we have, big culture that we have here is D&I. And our team, I would say, is still relatively very young. I think our average age, I haven't really got the absolutely correct calculations here, but if I look around the office here, I think our average age is around 26 to 27. Averagely. So young, energetic. A lot of our business in the past, particularly a lot of team members are somebody like you, educated overseas, coming back as a fresh grad and join us. But our team has been diversified a little bit recently because we hired a lot of candidates from our local competitors. So they're coming from another recruitment company, but maybe it's a domestic platform. So again, it's very diversified. There's a group of young people, fresh grads, a group of more experienced people. But when I said recruitment can be a lifelong job, again, I want to revisit that is because most of RDs, regional directors or directors, they have all been with us for at least 5 to 6 years. And many of them actually joined as fresh grads.
Yeah. So our last and but not least questions, and being asked a lot through our interviews before, what kind of challenge will be faced at initial stage being as a recruiter?
The initial stage is the vital stage because first of all, it's your first actual working permanent job here, right? So, and then there's so much to learn. I think the first challenge you will meet is time management because you need to attend trainings, and then you need to probably shadow your more experienced colleagues' interviews or phone calls, right? You need to write down the report after you interview with candidates, and then you need to be familiar with our system, which is not very easy to figure out at the beginning. So if you have a natural well-planning skills or time multitask experiences or skills, it could be really helpful at this job. The other challenges is obviously, when I was a newbie, I used to be a fresh grad myself as well, right? When I was newbie, whatever I do, I always felt nervous, right? And then, but when you go into the interview room and then trying to talk to a candidate who is slightly older than you, right? Even though you feel nervous, but you have to hide your nerve so that you can still, follow the process sheet and ask correct questions, and then by the end you get what you want. So that again, you need to be just a little bit confident about yourself. You need to be a little bit bold, just to ask questions if you don't know how or why, and don't hide if you don't know. So I think this is the challenges that as a fresh grad will encounter at the beginning. So shall we move on to the actual Q&A session?
Yes, thank you so much. That's been such a captivating presentation. I'm almost sold. I'm considering like leaving my job and joining PageGroup. I think it sounds like such a fantastic organization. Always great to hear from you, Wei Wei and Rita. So yeah, quite a few questions have come in from the students. I'm sorry. I hope we can get through as many as we can. So we had quite a few students with us here today. Surprisingly, a lot of them from a master's background. One thing they wanted me to clarify, and I do know the answer to this, but I think it's better if it comes from you, is do they need to be studying something related to recruitment, like HR, to join you, or are your roles open to anyone regardless of their degree and background?
I will answer this question if it's okay with you, Rita.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think it's no need. We don't
have any restrictions on the majors, but obviously, if you study the HR related or psychology related majors, it will definitely help. But recruitment is in the HR arena, but it's really a sales job. So we also would appreciate candidates with a background studying more commercial majors, such as business management, because I know business management is a very popular major for Chinese students to study. So somebody who's studied that is really helpful. Or economics, I think is also very helpful because students from that major are typically very analytical, which is really helpful on this job as well. And then the third area that would really interest us or relevant to us is because our business is we have different teams, and each team has a focused practice. For instance, we have a legal team, right? So we find lawyers for our clients. We find legal directors for our corporate clients, or we have a healthcare and life science team. So we find, scientists or R&D center directors for the pharmaceutical or healthcare clients, or we have internet a team would purely focus on the internet jobs, right? Because healthcare, life science, and internet are very, very hot right now in China. So if somebody who studied, say, pharmaceutical related or IT related, computer science related, and that naturally they still acquire commercial skills, right? They don't want to just do the technical jobs. They want to do something related to what they study, but they want to do something more commercial, challenging themselves. And this could also be a fit for us as well. So as a whole, I think we don't really have restrictions on what they study, but it's really, what they present themselves in the actual interviews. We always value soft skills more than the hard skills.
That's great to hear, and I think that's also what I had in mind, that the recruitment skills you can build, and learn on the job, and it's all about pick like some keywords there from Huawei about that you need to that you need to present in the application process. So do make sure that you sort of demonstrate an interest in the role and an interest in the organization, and the rest I'm guessing you can learn on the job. So a question here from the audience: what is the daily work like as a recruiter? So what would their day-to-day task look like, or what would they be expected to do on a daily basis?
I will answer this question as well. So a recruiter's typical day, I would say, will be divided into two parts. So this is how I was trained 12 years ago when I became a recruiter. So my boss back then is, when I mentioned one of the biggest challenge is multitasking, right? So there's always unexpected things to happen. So how to plan your day ahead is very important so that you don't lose your focus throughout the day. So a typical day, we will divide it into two parts. So in the morning, we will call it's more client-focused half day, and in the afternoon, it's more candidate-focused. So in the morning, typically, you will do BD calls, you will do client visits, right? You will do client update phone calls. chasing, after you send the shortlist of candidates, try to sell the candidate. If you had an interview day before, trying to get interview feedbacks, right? If you have an offer on hand and there's feedback from the candidate, you need to feedback to your client right away. So your typical morning will be filled all by client activities. In the afternoon, it will be candidate focused. So you will do candidate update phone calls to understand their current situations. Are they open to look? Are they not open to look? If they're open, what are their priorities when they look for the job? Or if you find a candidate, if you're searching candidate for a particular job, but then you need to brief this candidate on your actual job and get them interested, and then in the end to put this candidate in your shortlist that you can send to the client. You can do candidate interviews, and that's typically will be towards the evening, the later afternoon, because a lot of candidates, if they're still on job, they can't really come outside to do interviews that easily. So typically, 5 p.m. onwards, you will do candidate interviews, and then you will probably do 2 from 5 to 6, and then after 6, you will do a little bit, admin of the day, just doing a lot of paperwork. So our typical day starts from 9 a.m. To finishes around 6:45, and then there are people just stay, the regular office hours, and then go back on the dot. But there are people, staying very late every day in the office until 10 or 11. Some young people I see, they may have 3 meals in the day, and then they don't really have a life outside the work, right? But if you look at the result, they may not have, the result that they wanted to have, putting all these efforts. So again, working on your top priorities, focus on what's going to bring to you immediate commercial values or hitting your KPIs is very important. I've seen people saying like, I feel this job don't have any work-life balance because I'm here until like 10 p.m. Every day, but they're having like lunch for 2 hours, they're having their dinner for 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so a typical day is busy because we're always working the team environment. Even if you plan your day, you have your day filled up with all the appointments, but maybe one of your colleagues say, oh wait, I have this candidate just coming, I interviewed, I think he could be good for your job as well. So then you have to go meet with this candidate for at least 20 to 30 minutes, and this is unexpected, right? But if this candidate, from looking at the profile, is definitely relevant to the job you're working on, you have to do it. So this is why you just need to work a bit smarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm hearing a lot of the job is being split in 2. 1, building your portfolio of clients, and then 2, maintaining that by building those connections. A very fast-paced environment, so really good for anyone who enjoys that challenge, but also being effective in what you do is important. So it's not about the hours that you put in, it's about, how effective your liaising and interpersonal skills are. And again, it's all about those people skills and being smart about your work. So a student has asked us, what would you recommend? Like, what will make someone stand out? How can someone build their profile to make them stand out in the application process?
We talked about the majors, right? Even though I said it's not 100% relevant, but it's still, still has some relevancy. So somebody who studied relevant majors is a plus. And then the next one I think is more important, when we look at, because you mentioned that there might be some master students in this group as well, right? So if it's purely a fresh grad profile, we would look at their extracurricular activities, right? So if they are activists of a lot of social activities, right? If typically if somebody is in a debate, a leader of a debating club, will definitely grab our attention. And then in the past, I'm not sure if the student is aware, we often see candidates from an organization called ISEC, AIECE. right?
Yes.
I think the spelling is correct. So this organization, we find the candidates who's done, some activities there is very good because they're very, independent. They like to challenge themselves. They're willing to take on difficult tasks and trying to, use all the resources to handle, to handle and to connect. And this is all relevant to what we do. So these are the extracurricular activities or the organizations that you have participated in the past will interest us as well. The other one is internship, because I think the students nowadays they plan ahead quite a lot, right? Because they may study in England for the whole in the UK for the whole bachelor degree, but every summer they would come back to China, and then they would use these opportunities to intern in some companies. And then if these internships, we can see some relevancies there, I think that's a big plus as well. And then for master students, obviously, I presume, because some of the master students may not necessarily have working experiences before, but some do, right? But if you have any sales-related experiences more than 6 months or 12 months, I think it's a big plus as well.
Thank you. So I'm very conscious of the time, so I'll try to fit in 2 more questions if possible, because I know
we're a little late to start. Apologies.
Yeah, so I know Natalia and Jing, how you've been waiting a long time to get your questions answered. So one question we've had from a student is, so they're a little bit concerned that they've had, they were studying remotely for the last year, so they've completed an online degree. They were just wondering whether you can share with us a little bit more whether they'd be at a disadvantage, whether you will still value them having studied remotely, because obviously they've gained some other skills, such as being able to multitask and now working across different time zones. So what's your take on how the pandemic has affected the students' ability to, one, build on their experience, and two, being able to come to the UK and study physically as opposed to now studying remotely?
From our end, we haven't really seen a big difference, to be honest, because I think the pandemic obviously caused a lot of inconvenience, particularly for the students. But I think, when we look at the candidates, we don't just look at on their academic background, right? Obviously, for us to be able to become a perm employee, first of all, you need to have a degree, either a bachelor degree or postgraduate degree. But if you are waiting for your degree to come because of the COVID situation, then we won't be able to offer a perm job right away. But we will be able to already offer you if we think you take all the boxes, particularly on the soft skills that we're looking for. So I'm not sure if I answered your question yet, but I haven't really seen from employers' perspective that hasn't really slowed down our hiring, particularly last year, because we had our hiring peak Q3 last year. So we had about in total, I think, over 50 new joiners in Q4 last year in PageGroup China Business. I would say 1/3 of these are fresh grads, because Page Personnel brand that I mentioned before officially launched in China October, 1st of October last year. So we ran a couple of assessment centers in Shanghai throughout from I think June to August, September, either online or offline. Mostly online actually, and then the interview process was all smooth. We received a good amount of good applications as well, predominantly from the universities from UK, and particularly with help like yourself, University of Manchester gave us a lot of help as well. So for us, I think we would only foresee, with the vaccine situations, right, and hopefully that the border will open up soon, and then the students can, study as usual. We can only foresee the growth in terms of our hirings this year rather than a decrease.
Perfect.
Yeah,
and
because
then,
our one always there.
Yeah, one last question if you've got time, because I know we've overrun a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we do have an aspiring recruiter here who is hoping to start their career first in the UK. And just to point out, there is a Michael Page office in the UK, so they could definitely, sorry, a PageGroup sort of like office in the UK, so they could definitely apply there. So they've got like 2 questions: whether you can give us a very quick tip on networking and how that can be done, and 2, whether there is value in them connecting with other recruiters on LinkedIn and asking them for questions. So perhaps building a bit of a mentoring partnership out of that. What's your take on that?
Oh, I would definitely suggest that. I think it's it's good initiatives for students like that to think about that as well, because I think they always say skills can be taught, right? But attitude and initiatives cannot really be taught, right? So when I see, because we interview people day in, day out, not just fresh grads. We interview industry people, we interview competitive people, but these ones always being really proactive, adding our LinkedIn contacts, really research the interview background beforehand the interview, going to all these necessary social media channels to research on our company, on recruitment industries, are the ones is going to stand out. So if when you said that these students have these initiatives to do that, that's great.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely recommend it as well. The more that you talk and you network with people, the better you become at it as well. So thank you. This is all the time we've had today. I'm very conscious of time because I know the students will probably have classes to get to.
Apologies.
That's completely fine. It happens. Just to say, the session has been recorded, so we'll trim the start and we'll make the recording available afterwards for any students who want to revisit the slides or find out more about Michael Page as well. Rita, if you wanted me to share those videos with the students, I'll be more than happy to put them in an email and send them to them afterwards as well. And I really wanted to say a very warm thank you to both of you for this presentation today, but also about your insights. I think you gave some phenomenal advice about students who are really looking to make their first steps into the professional world and how the professional sort of like office environment looks like and what they can expect. So thank you very much.
You are most welcome, and thank you again for putting all this effort and then putting this event together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you guys are interested page, and welcome to connect me and on LinkedIn, and any questions, just chat with us. We are very happy to talk with guys.
That's wonderful. I do encourage everyone to connect with Rita and to carry those conversations forward. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you again at a different session in the future. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.